First of all, can you introduce yourself and your role within Covestro?
My name is Emily Shaffer. I'm the Healthcare Market Manager for the Americas region at Covestro, working with our engineering plastics products.
The SoundHeart electronic stethoscope is designed for people without medical training. Why was creating a device like this important?
Yeah, it's really exciting that a device like this was created. Here we have the stethoscope modeled right here. It's made to empower people to have action in their own health. So people, let's say if you live in a rural area or maybe an underserved community and it's harder to find access to healthcare, these devices really empower people to take an active role in their health and really help to have more preventative care take place.
The device uses the same material for both opaque and translucent components. How does that simplify manufacturing and impact cost for a startup like Orion Health?
Yeah, so using one resin, so our Macrolon 2458 is the material, the polycarbonate that's used for this device. Only having one grade for both the housing component and the light ring really simplifies the warehousing that they would need on their end. Also the articles, the number of articles of plastic that they would need to use. Also whenever you're registering the device, it's only one plastic that you're using as a part of the registration as a medical device and not multiple. So it really streamlines the process by having just one grade that you have to focus on and not multiple.
This product started as a university hackathon project and evolved into a globally scaled medical device. How did having pre-certified medical grade materials help accelerate that journey?
Yeah, so really as Covestro, we want to be an innovation partner to not only large OEMs, but also startup companies. And what's really great is that our materials have been around for over 50 years. They're reliable, you can count on them. We have global supply, high quality. So all of that really helped the startup to have one less thing to worry about whenever they're working with basically a trusted supplier who can handle everything on the materials side of things.
Moving on to Monumedical, the Easy Fuser syringe pump developed by the company is built for environments where electricity isn't an option. What material properties were non-negotiable for these environments?
Yeah, so definitely having impact resistance was non-negotiable for this type of product. So here we have the single-use syringe infusion pump here. The goal of this device is to be used in really harsh environments, so outside of the hospital, if you think of like emergency care or even in military settings. So the device itself in those settings could get bumped and dropped and rough handling. So really the impact resistance was non-negotiable. And then it also comes down to the sterilization of the device. So our Macrolon RX 2530 is the polycarbonate that is used for this device in several components. And what that grade is designed for is to be sterilized by gamma radiation. So it would basically satisfy the needs of sterilization to have it be a sterile product in the field.
The Easy Fuser involved close collaboration with the US military. How does working with partners in extreme use cases push forward innovation in material science?
So in these cases, what's really exciting is that we work on a lot of devices that are in the hospital setting. Whenever we get to work with people that are a little bit outside of the true, like typical medical OEM space, sometimes you have different requirements that you need to think about, whether that be the impact resistance or the sterilization. So it really helps us in our material innovation to learn what are the pain points of them outside of the hospital in their environment. And then either we have that material, and if we don't have the material itself, we can then innovate to make a new material grade to satisfy their needs.
What do these two devices say about where healthcare innovation is headed and how Covestro is helping enable it?
Yeah, so if you look at both of the devices, they're made to be used outside of a hospital setting. So looking where the future of medicine is going, obviously we'll always need to have hospital care, but there's a lot of innovation happening outside, specifically in home health care. And what's really exciting is that Covestro is able to help with that convergence of kind of like the electronics industry and the healthcare industry coming together to make those smart, connected, at-home devices. We have the knowledge of both industries and kind of help it bridge that gap.
My name's Justin Spitzer. I'm the Business Development Manager for Covestro for our TPU films for printed electronics.
Covestro is highlighting its high-impact TPU films for smart sensing. What does high impact mean in this context, and why is it critical for wearable electronics?
So for our TPU films, we're demonstrating the ability for our TPU to take force, crushing, bending and repeated bending for reliability of our TPU films for printed electronics.
How are the platilon, am I saying that right? Platilon? High-impact TPU films engineered to withstand the forces that they'll receive over thousands of steps?
So comparative to other films that are out in the market, TPU is a much more robust film and can handle the constant crushing and bending and flexing that is needed for these types of applications, such as shoe insoles, or going on to wearable products, which are going onto the body, which are constantly moving, and the human body is bending and flexing. So you need to have a reliable substrate in order to be able to have the printed electronics.
How do the impact absorbing and force dispensing properties of this film protect the sensitive electronics?
Good question. So the printed electronics are made with stretchable links. So building them onto the TPU films in combination makes a reliable circuit. Right? Also building up TPU films with multiple layers protects the circuitry if you actually need upper and lower circuit. So again, just in the environment, the TPU film protects the stretchable circuits.
What other types of smart sensing or medical applications benefit the most from high-impact TPU films?
Well, the one that we're demonstrating here at the show is for shoe insoles. And that's demonstrating where a foot is giving constantly high forces, bending, flexing. That's an athletic application, but there's also medical applications of gait analysis, diabetic sensing. So there's a number of ways that medical researchers are able to monitor the body through shoe insoles. And that requires a constant bending and crushing in the shoe insole.
When MD&M West attendees walk away from the Covestro booth, what is one takeaway you want them to have about the high-impact TPU films?
So we want them to know that our Covestro Platilon TPU films are a reliable substrate for their printed electronics.
So what are you highlighting here at MD&M West that Covestro have launched?
So Covestro has different divisions. We sell polycarbonate, we also sell polyurethane. The division I represent is coatings, adhesives, and foams. This week we're introducing a new foam. It's a hydrophilic polyurethane that can be made into a very thin, very soft, very absorbent foam. The key properties and the benefits compared to the prior generations, or what's on the marketplace right now, is that when it's wet, it can absorb 18 times its weight in fluid, and it remains very strong. So if you do a wound dressing and you wrap the wound, it keeps its integrity, and more importantly, when you remove it, it also stays intact. And the wet strength is 5 times higher than what's available currently. It's also white, doesn't yellow when exposed to light, and it's very sustainable because it uses up to 70% less energy because we have less water that's being used in the manufacturing process.
My name is Kidd Wang. I'm the medical segment manager for Spitzer Films in Covestro. And then my role is more about looking into the market trend in healthcare and also translating that trend into strategy. Yeah.
What can you tell me about the sustainability products that Covestro offers?
For sure. So, the healthcare market is demanding for sustainability, and also so in specialty films in Covestro, we produce a mass balance polycarbonate films, which was targeting for medical packaging. And then this material actually is going to reduce significantly on the CO2 footprint. And what is mass balance? You might have the question, right? So mass balance is actually to use the recycled raw material in our production process to replace fossil-based raw material. And from there, the final polycarbonate product is going to reduce the CO2 footprint significantly. Yeah.
Can you tell me about this IV securement paper and what are the benefits?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that question. So we are so excited to announce a new product launch, at the show, which is a TPU film on paper carrier. And why paper carrier? And what is a carrier? So in the healthcare market, there's also a market trend asking for a thin and more breathable medical devices. And to manufacture those medical devices, there's always a need for a soft and also very thin films. And then, but to process the films, the soft and thin films, they can be so difficult because the film can be so stretchy. That's why you need a certain carrier that comes along with the film to provide enough stiffness. So this paper carrier product is actually going to support high temperature adhesive coating, which is above 135 degrees C. This product is also engineered for precision and consistent converting. And last but not least, this product is also offering the structural support to device placement. Yeah.